Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. What's happening? What's going on tonight, guys? How y'all running, man? We got a couple things that we could cover tonight. We got a couple trades that went down in the league. What's going on, my man? What's up, King? How you doing, brother? Vex, how you doing, man? Good. All right. We got a couple things to cover. Definitely. I think that Eric Bledsoe, I apologize. Eric Bledsoe, back to the Clippers. Pat Beverly to Memphis, and now Pat Beverly in Minnesota. So that was tricky. What's up, Deep? How you running, brother? What's up? Who do you think won the Luka trade? The Luka Trae Young trade? They both won. I don't think that Dallas won anything. I don't think that Atlanta won anything because they're both great. I mean, Trae Young was 25-9 this season, and he went to the East Finals. Luka's a first-team All-NBA performer. They haven't been out the first round yet, but, I mean, we're talking about two premier guards in the league. So I don't think that they won. I don't think Dallas has a leg up on Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta has a leg up on Dallas. They're both great in their own right. It wasn't like Dallas traded Anthony Bennett or Michael Kidd-Gilchrist for Luka or something, or Marvin Bagley. That's completely different. I think they both came out looking really good on this, no doubt. I'm a casual, yeah. But you keep showing up, don't you, Isaiah? You damn sure do keep showing up, don't you? As casual as I am. Uh-huh. Five players ranked worst to first. So you got Zion, Book, Luke, Tatum, Mitchell. My top five young players under 25. So at the top of that list, I got Zion, I got Mitchell, I got Tatum. I left Luka out. I got Zion, Luka, Mitchell, Tatum, Book. High school starts tomorrow. All right. Okay. High school isn't much different initially than grade school. I mean, you're going to make new friends and you're going to have new experiences. You're going to meet new people. Just keep your head level and roll with it, man. It's going to be good. And you're going to run into some people that you don't like, but you're going to run into more people that you do like. So, absolutely. Who do I got winning the NL West? You seen what the Dodgers just did at the trade deadline and picking up free agents? I think they jumped San Diego. Absolutely. How is Zion first, bro? He's easily the worst. He's 26, and he asked me about rank these players. What are you ranking these players on? Because I'm just ranking them as players. I'm not ranking them from what their teams did. I'm ranking them as individual players. Zion is 26 a game, shooting 60% from the floor, and his mid-range game is shaky. The guy is literally unstoppable. So I'm not going that far. Absolutely not. I think Zion Williamson is going to be the face of the league once he puts a mid-range in his game. So, no, Osam, I'm not buying the Bulls. Not yet, I'm not. Nope. They still got to show me that they could defend. Absolutely, they do. Any tips on making the varsity team? Did you work on your game this summer? So, because if you worked on your game and you put the work in, go in there and apply what you put the work in. Apply the things that you did. Because in the end, it's about confidence. And you were the one out there working on your game. So go out there and show it to them. No, Federal, I don't. I think that LeBron, I think that his ring days, I thought that after they won it last year, I thought that that's it. I'd be surprised if he won it again. I would be. But if he did, I think that would be great. Because I don't think that he has anything else to prove in terms of being an all-time great. I don't. So I'd be surprised if he did. Zion is nowhere near number one on that list. Lamont, what are you basing this on? That's my question to you. What are you basing this on? Book was on a better team than him. Tatum is on a better team than him. Luka is on a better team than him. They have no structure in New Orleans, which would explain why he's going to be out of there soon. If you think that Zion Williamson is going to be in New Orleans in 6 or 7 years, you are out of your mind. There is no structure in that place, and he still managed to be 26 a game. I'd like to see him rebound a little bit more, but that's going to come with time. What does he offer that others can't? So what do they offer that he can't do? I mean, you asking me rank these players, you talking like Zion ain't even in the conversation. So what does Tatum do that Zion can't do? That's my question. I mean, we're talking about a dude who's 26 a game and he shoots 60% from the floor. Those are Shaq numbers. So you're going to blame him for that because he's on a trash franchise? So I guess Anthony Davis was the same way because he was on a whack unit. Shooting, playmaking, and a bit. I completely disagree with that. And if you're a GM, if you passing on Zion Williamson, you're getting fired. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to say any more about that. You pass on Zion Williamson as a GM, and you getting fired. I'm pretty confident in that. I do think Boston will be back this season. Yes, I do. I think Boston will be back this season. I think that they're going to get a favorable matchup in the playoffs, and I think that they can make a run. And health is the key with these guys because remember, these guys are Jaylen Brown away from being a top 5, top 4 seed. He gets hurt. He misses, the last 27 games or something like that. And they ended up dropping and going into the play-in. I think they were in the play-in tournament. So, we're talking about a team that was in the Eastern Conference Championship the year before. And then 2 years before that. Absolutely. So, best arena atmosphere for a finals game. Dallas was dope. I don't have a favorite NBA team, Mike. I don't. I just, because these guys bounce around so much, I just follow franchises. Luka on the trash team, yet he can still manage to carry his team to the playoffs. Why can't Zion do that? Because Luka's team was better than Zion's team. That's why. And I think Luka is a better player than Zion. Even though I do have Zion at number 1, because I think in the future he'll be the face of the league. I do think that. Absolutely. No, they're not both equally garbage teams. No, they are not. No, they are not. Absolutely not. They are not garbage teams. Dallas is not nearly. So you got anybody on? You got who's on New Orleans that's just as good or that's just as good as Tim Hardaway Jr.? Who on New Orleans This is last season, by the way. Who on New Orleans was as good as KP, Porzingis? Was Ingram that good? I mean, KP was 20-8. So Luka is a phenomenal talent. I don't think Ingram is better than KP. I don't. I do not. If you put Ingram in Dallas, I think they're doing the same thing. I think they're doing the exact same thing if Ingram is in Dallas. I don't think that he's bad. I don't think he gives Dallas that much of an edge. I think they're doing the same thing. I mean, KP was 20-8 last year. And he wasn't even the focal point of that offense. It was something completely different. He did average 13 a game in the playoffs. And did he not, after the series, was asking, what exactly is my role? What am I doing around here? Did he not question what was going on? I mean, it's the same. How do I go from being 20-8 to averaging 13 a game? His shot production went down. It wasn't like his play just went in the tank. This is a guy who he was 20-8 during the season, so he could obviously score. So how come he couldn't score against the Clippers? He wasn't involved nearly as much as what they were doing. Not even close. Now this is Fordham University, the Broncos. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you where he would go, Griffin, but I know that Zion's not going to be in New Orleans long. I don't think he's going to be there for 5, 6, 7 years. I did watch the new Malice in the Palace. I did watch that. So what's your logic, Lamont? Let me ask you this question, because clearly I'm wrong on Zion being a top 5 player or being at the top of the list. So let me hear your list. So because clearly I'm wrong. I'm not going to talk to nobody else on here right now. I want to talk to Lamont because Lamont wants to talk to me. Let's talk, Lamont. Who on your list of Zion, Luka, Tatum, Mitch, and Book, who goes to the top of that list? Because Zion ain't even close to it. So I'm listening to you. So Luka, Tatum, Mitchell, Book, Zion. So Zion at the bottom of the list. Okay, that's your list. You think Zion is at the bottom of the list? I don't. I think Zion is at the top of the list. I think that the team that he's on, I think that this guy with his skill set, he's unstoppable. Book is on a better team. Mitchell is on a better team. Not only is Mitchell on a better team, Mitchell is on a team that was number 1 in the Western Conference, and he got no MVP votes. We wasn't even talking about him for league MVP. We weren't even talking about him for league MVP. So with that being said, Mitchell, I think Mitchell is who he is. I don't know how much better he's going to get. I think we're in year 5 with him, and I've always felt like this. I think that by year 5, we already know who you are. So I think Mitchell is who he is. Zion has so much more room for improvement. So much more. Once he puts that mid-range in his game, once he gets to become a better rebounder, which I think he will, and health is the most important thing with him. For you to tell me that it's a wash, I completely disagree with that, especially with a guy who's shooting over 60% from the floor, who doesn't really know how to play yet. Zion is playing out here like, I'm just bigger, faster, and stronger than most of you guys. Wait till I figure this out. How much better is Book going to get? How much better is Luka going to get? These are the guys that I'm talking about. The 4 other guys are just as unstoppable, even though Zion averaged more points than all of them. He averaged more points than Book. He averaged more points than Mitchell. He averages more points than Tatum. But they just as unstoppable. Okay. He needs to man up. Wow. He's in year 3 going into it. And he made the All-Star team. So you holding him to a higher standard, which I can get with that logic because, like I said, I'm doing the same thing. I want to see this dude put a mid-range in his game. Because if he could put a mid-range in his game, I think he's going to be the face of the league one day. But for you to put him at the bottom of the list just because his team didn't make the playoffs in that trash organization? No, absolutely not. No, Zion hasn't proven himself yet. So what does he need to do to prove himself? What does he need to do? He made the All-Star team in year 2. What else does he need to do? What are you talking about? No, you didn't. You didn't just use my logic against me. I'm going off individual players. You're going off what these guys have done collectively for with their units. Their units were better. Boston's a better team than New Orleans. Phoenix is a better team than New Orleans. I bet you I didn't hear you yapping about Book last season when they were in the lottery. I bet you I wasn't listening to you talk about Book a year or 2 years ago when they won 18 games. He was still averaging 25 a game. Still, and I bet you wasn't using that logic then. So why am I overhyping him already? Because he wasn't. But let's see. I'm pretty sure Book didn't make the All-Star team in year 2. I'm pretty sure that Donovan Mitchell wasn't an All-Star in year 2. I mean, Luka is the only guy. I mean, Tatum didn't make the All-Star team in year 2. So these are guys who they still got a lot of room to grow. Except for Book. I don't know how much better Book is going to get. Zion, I think his ceiling is a lot higher than any of these guys. So who's the most dominant player in the NBA currently? Giannis. Giannis, absolutely. And the reason why they couldn't give him league MVP again this year, they couldn't do it. Because to give him league MVP again this year for the 3rd straight year means that he would have never won it again. And they didn't want to do that. Excuse me. They did the same thing with LeBron in 2012. They couldn't give it to him again. Because to give it to him again, I mean, there's a reason why he won the league MVP 4 times in 5 years. Like, we can't give it to him 3 straight years and then never give it to him again. We can't do that. No. Mm-mm. I do think Giannis is better than AD. Yes, I do. I do think he's a better player than AD. Yeah, I do think that. I think durability is very important. And I think that what he's doing, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, I think he's better than AD. Yes, I do. I do expect AD to have a breakout season this season, though. No doubt. No doubt. That's the difference, Drew. I don't know if he can stay healthy, man. Lamont, beat it, man, because you clearly know more basketball than I do. I shouldn't be talking about basketball. Beat it, man. Matter of fact, get your ass out of here. Because I clearly don't know basketball. You know more basketball than me. I don't know basketball. I shouldn't be talking about basketball, even though I got a guy who's barely 21 years old, who's 27 a game, 61% playing for a trash organization, and he's probably the future of the league. But because he's the future of the league, and because you see this dude differently, I shouldn't be talking about basketball. Man, get out of my live, yo. Get out of my live, yo. For real. Beat it. Get out of my live. Get out of here. I'm all for a good debate. I love good debates. I'm absolutely loving good debates. I don't like good debates. I love them. I absolutely love them. So, hmm. Dre, I don't know how far they can go without Kawhi. Well, we already saw that. I mean, they were able to make it to the conference finals, but Kawhi went down in the semis in what, game 4? Was it game 4 or game 5? I think he went down in the semis. So I still think that they're a playoff team without Leonard. I don't think they're a championship contending team, but I do think that they're a playoff team. No doubt about it. Tatum is my favorite young player today. Under of all the players in the league under 25, Tatum is my favorite young player. And there's a difference between better or best and favorite. Tatum is my favorite. I think Tatum is going to be, at some point, I think he's going to be a top 5. I think he's going to be a top 5 player in the league. I think he's going to be an MVP candidate at some point. Boston is building that unit around him. And I do think at some point they will be championship. They're already championship contenders, but I do think that they'll be serious contenders where they'll really challenge for it. They're not ready yet. I don't think they are. You think Paul George will be an MVP candidate? See, I feel like that about Anthony Davis this season. I think because he's going to be healthy, I feel like that about him. And I think that he's going to have a great season this year. I mean, last year he was 26-9 before COVID shut the season down. I think he's going to get back to that this season. I think James is going to be more of a distributor. And I think Russ being there, being the distributor that he is going to help Davis out even more. Because Russ never played with a big as skilled as Anthony Davis, who can run the floor like him, who's as good offensively. Because, I mean, Steven Adams wasn't that good. He wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't that good. I'm saying he wasn't good as Anthony Davis. So, absolutely. That's a good question. Calm down. I don't know, man. I don't think Gary Payton was whack. I really don't. What's up, Fuga? I don't think Gary Payton was whack. I don't think Gary Payton Jr., I don't think he was whack. I do think that him having that label on him, being Gary Payton's son, I think that contributed to him having more pressure on him. But I mean, his skill set and his athleticism, I think he was better than his father in terms of his athleticism. I do think that. But he don't got that dog in him like his father did. My top 3 MVP candidates this season coming up, Miguel. Well, we haven't seen the season yet, but I think that Giannis is going to be right back in the middle of that. I think KD is going to be in the middle of that. I think Anthony Davis is going to be in the middle of that. Candace. Yo, Shannon Sharp. I'm better looking than Shannon, I'd like to think. Oh. It was absolutely they would have shot themselves in the foot if they were to give Giannis the league MVP again this year, because to give it to him 3 straight years in this era, if you notice, Bird won it 3 straight years in the 80s. He actually had better seasons after that. He never sniffed the league MVP again. He never saw it again. And for them to give Giannis the league MVP again this year, last season, that means that they wouldn't have been able to give it to him again, no matter how good he was. That means that every year with him being 27-13 and 26-12, it would have just been, that's who Giannis is. That's the standard. So in order for him to exceed that, or in order for him to win the league MVP, he would have had to exceed that. He would have had to be something like 29 and 15 or 30 and 16, and his team be number one, where they had no choice but to give it to him again. So Giannis or Barkley. I don't think Giannis is a top 5 power forward yet. I don't. He still got work to do. The stuff that he's already accomplished is the stuff of legends. But just so you know, Giannis just got good. Giannis hasn't been this good for a decade. Giannis only been this good for like 3 or 4 years. So he's still got a lot of work to do. If he could sustain this for another 4 or 5 years, oh, absolutely. No doubt. What's up, Henry? How you doing, brother? OG, do you think the Hawks need to trade for another star besides Trey, or do you think Reddish or Hunter can turn into that second star? I like what they're doing, man. I love what Atlanta is doing with that group, because they got a lot of good players, and they've proven that with the superstar that they have, I think, in Trae Young, I think he's a superstar. With him being who he is, and those other guys flourishing around him, John Collins, RJ Hunter getting healthy, Cam Reddish, you saw what he did in limited time in the playoffs. I think he's going to get better. You got your rim protector in Capella. You got your long ball shooter in Herder. You got your bench player in Gallo. So I think with that unit that they have, I think they'll be right back in the middle of it next season. I do believe that. What are some of the worst takes I've ever heard? Bill Russell's not a top 10 player all time. LeBron James is not a top 10 player all time. What other terrible takes have I heard? I've heard a number of different ones. No, I don't think that the Nets are going to win it all. No, I do not. No, they've proven that they can't hold up. And unless they can show that they can hold up, then I got to go with what history has shown me. And just so you know, I mean, Kevin Durant is going into year 15. It's a lot of miles on him. So I still think that he can be what he was last year with a full off season of rest and taking care of his body. I don't really know how much longer KD has, but I'll be interested to see him come back this season. Do I have Wade as the MVP in 06? No, I don't. I mean, they had a good Miami Heat team. They did. They had a really good Miami Heat team, and Wade was incredible for that team. But when I think about, what Kobe did with that Laker team and dragging them to the playoffs and getting them a 6 seed, when I think about what Steve Nash did for that Phoenix team, when I think about what Duncan did with that San Antonio team, even what Tony Parker was doing. So there were a lot of guys who had great seasons that year. So who is the greatest Wizard of all time? The Bullets, Wizards. Is that Wes Unseld? Now you can make a case for 09 because Wade was 30, 38 and 5. However, in 19, Giannis's 19 season, that was LeBron's 09 season. That's the same thing that LeBron did in 09. He finished second in the league in Defensive Player of the Year. I think he led the league in scoring. No, Dwayne Wade led the league in scoring. I think he was right under Dwayne Wade. He was averaging like 29 a game, something like that. They won 66 games that year. So Steph Curry is not the best point guard ever. He dominated the West for nearly 7 years. And Magic dominated it for a decade. I do think the Bulls can make the playoffs, Bell. I do. But I'm not going I'm not jumping out the window saying that the Bulls are a top 5 team and I think that they're going to the finals or they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm talking about a group that I still got to see what they do defensively, man, because we got a lot of buckets to be scored here. Absolutely, we do. But can they stop people? Because Lonzo looked like the only one on the perimeter that's going to defend. Zach ain't defending like that. DeRozan ain't defending like that. Is Kobe White going to defend like that? So, I don't think KD is a top 10 player all time. And I think Magic is the best point guard to ever play. Why do you rate defense so highly? It's not the 90s. Well, great, Lon. There are two sides of the basketball, man. This isn't football where the quarterback only plays offense. You got to play defense too. It's like being a boxer. I can't rely on the idea of me thinking that I can hit you more than I can stop you from hitting me. I mean, that's not realistic. That doesn't make me a better player than you if I can hit you more than I can stop you from hitting me, because eventually that's not going to work because I'm going to run up on somebody that can hit just as much. So I feel like if you're more of a complete player, that makes you a better player as opposed to if you only play on one side of the ball. If you're in an alley getting jumped, which 2 NBA players, past or present, would you want to back you up? Oh, that's easy. Anthony Mason and Ben Wallace. Yep. Anthony Mason and Ben Wallace. Absolutely. I don't know if I take Drew Holiday over Kyrie, but I think that I'd consider it, considering, I mean, Drew Holiday is a solid 17 a game, and he's an elite. I think he's the best perimeter defender in the game. So that's not a wash. That's not me just going, that's crazy to even say that. No, I would absolutely consider it, considering Kyrie's health, because him and Drew Holiday kind of have the same health status. So who wins the league this year? So you're asking who wins the NBA championship if everybody is healthy? Well, until I see somebody beat Milwaukee the champs. Even whatever the Lakers are bringing, whatever Phoenix is bringing back, whatever Brooklyn is bringing, whatever Philadelphia is bringing, because they were basically 100%. So until I see somebody beat Milwaukee is the favorites to me. I don't really know what to do with the Jazz, man. You know why? And the reason why I say that is because I look at the Utah Jazz, and the Utah Jazz they're that team that they could lose in the first round of the playoffs, or they could make it to the NBA Finals, man. You know, Mike Conley being healthy, him not being healthy, that was a big deal for them, because that was more buckets, that was another floor leader, that was another distributor that they didn't have, that they needed. I do think Dame stays in Portland. If they were going to move on him, they would have already done it. Because I'm pretty sure that they've gotten a tremendous amount of calls on him. So I'm pretty confident that if they were going to move on him, they would have already moved on him. And it doesn't really look like they are making any other deals. That they're not moving CJ, CJ averaged 20 a game like over the last 3 or 4 years. So can you end the Magic Bird debate? Bird was better initially, and then Magic became better. Bird said it. Quote, Magic's the best player that I've ever seen. Magic is a great player. He's the best that I've ever seen. I don't know what else to say. End quote. That's what Bird said about Magic. Take it like me. All right, brother. As of today, who you taking, Bron or Giannis? I'm still taking Bron. Still. I think that situation in Philly, I think that relationship is broken, where you could do two things. I'm not even gonna say two things. You could take Ben Simmons and treat him like a child and let him kick and scream and complain, and eventually he'll fall asleep like a child does. Or you could trade him. I think this thing with him and Embiid works if he were to trust his game more. If he were to knock down that open shot. If he were able to do that, he would be so much better. But moving off of him makes it look like you just gave up on him. So who do you take right now? Lillard, Dame, or James Harden? I'm not a big fan of James Harden, but I do think he's better than Dame Lillard. I do. I think he's a better playmaker. I think he's a better distributor. I think he's a better shot creator. I think he's a better finisher. I think he's a better player than Dame Lillard. Mr. Ferguson, New Zealand is in the house. All right. Tatum. I don't know if he's trash in the playoffs, but what he's proven, what James Harden has proven throughout his career is that he will break down in the playoffs. Absolutely. He's proven that. Either he'll break down or he'll fold up. One of those two. He'll break down physically or he'll just fold. His game will fold up. One of those two will happen. No doubt. The toughest opponent for MJ in his championship seasons? That Indiana team was really tough. I thought that Utah team in '98 was going to beat them. So if I had to choose between the two, if I had to choose between that Utah team and I had to choose between that Indiana team, I'm going with that Utah team. I think that Utah team, I thought they had a real shot to beat them. I did. I'm not a big fan of James Harden because, number one, I think he does a lot of extra stuff, a lot of extra movement, a lot of extra curricular things with the basketball that aren't necessary. There is no simplicity to his game. And, he pounds the ball a lot. But that's what gets him to the basket. That's what gets him the shots that he gets. That's what gets him to the free throw line. So, I got to accept that that's what it is. I think he complains a lot. And he did that. That's not to his detriment. That's because of the league that we play in today. We play in the league that they had. The league that we have today it's a freedom of movement league. So when you put hands on guys aren't comfortable with that, and they look at the officials like, "Yo, what are you doing? What's going on?" So Sweden in the house. Ireland is in the house. No doubt. James, who do you think the best street baller is? I think he is too, King. I do. I think Steph Curry is too. I think Steph Curry's going to struggle with that. I think James Harden is going to struggle with that. I think Paul George is going to struggle with that. Alan, what's up, brother? Titus, Australia in the house. All right. I think it was a good one for him because DeMar got paid for going to the Bulls. He wasn't going to see that. He wasn't going to see that kind of money on an open market on a playoff team. So absolutely, I think it was a good move for him. I don't know if Jerry West is underrated, Michael. And the reason why people treat him the way they do is because, I mean, we talking about a dude who he went to the finals 9 times and lost 8. That's why people treat him the way they treat him. For that reason right there. No. Yeah, calm down. I did watch the Malice in the Palace video, documentary, and it was a lot of stuff that I'd already known. I'm not thinking that it was a revelation because I saw there was a documentary on Ron Artest. I'm sorry, on Meta, on Showtime, and it covered a lot of the same things. There is one thing that a lot of people don't talk about with the Malice in the Palace, and that is, as much as Meta got blamed for all of this and how Jermaine O'Neal was basically protecting himself and Steven Jackson and those guys, nobody talks about the fact that Ben Wallace started this whole thing. Ben Wallace, if Ben Wallace doesn't go after Meta, none of this happens. None of this. And he didn't get nearly as much blame for this as he should have. I think the Browns take a step forward this year. I'll be interested to see how much better Baker Mayfield is this year. For some reason, I'm having a difficult time with this Baker Mayfield and OBJ thing, with this ODB thing. I'm just having a difficult time with it, man. It's just, for some reason, it's just not. The double standard with what? I don't know. Where's the double standard? No, around the NBA, he ain't trash. I just don't think that. I think that the expectation of him, because he's a number 1 pick, you expected more out of him, and you're not really getting that. But you are getting a solid quarterback, and that's not good enough. India in the house. All right. India is in the house. I still think Pittsburgh's the class of the AFC North. I know that you guys are over them, but I gotta understand what the double standard is. Well, you mentioned West not getting nearly as much credibility as he deserves because he went to 9 times and lost 8 of them. LeBron went to the finals 10 times but lost 6. Yeah, he's almost at 500 though. That is, and Jerry West and LeBron are not nearly the same, because LeBron James actually is almost at 500, and he won more than Jerry West did. You know, for whatever reason, LeBron won. He still won. I mean, Jerry West been to the finals 9 times. He lost 8. And the standard that you guys set for him, nah, it's not like that at all. Hold on for a second. So let me ask you this question, Michael. Would you equate Jerry West with a 1-8 record? Would you equate that record with a 4-6 record? Those are the same? Or is it just, they both lost, so they should both be the same? They both lost more than they won, so they should both be the same. Is that your logic? So I'm clear. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this. Well, the Cavs passed on Giannis because they had LeBron. And they were trying to win it, not realizing that, this guy could be an all-time great. No, 4-6 isn't better than 6-0, but I want to get back to Mr. Rodriguez with the idea that, Jerry West is 1-8 the same as 4-6, or is it they both lost? That's the logic. That's what I'm trying to make sense of that. Absolutely. 6-0 is better than 4-6. And that's why, and that was the logic, because that's the standard that Jerry West was held to. That's the standard that all of you guys hold players to, championships. And I mean, I really don't hold guys to that. He absolutely did. Not only that, add that to the fact, Michael Rodriguez, he won the Finals MVP and they lost. So don't just stop there with him averaging 31 a game, 31.5 for 9 straight years. He won the Finals MVP and they lost. That'll tell you how good he really was. But the standard that he's held to is the standard that you guys hold players to is winning championships. I don't hold players to that because there's so much that goes into winning. And you need a lot of things to go your way. I hold the player that you are in a higher standard than what you've done for your team. Don't get me wrong. I hold championships in a high regard, but I don't hold them in as nearly a high regard as I hold what you did as a player. Thanks, one-on-one. He is the NBA logo. That's that's a pretty big deal to be. If you're the NBA logo and you're not a top 10 player all time, that is a pretty big deal. So, thanks, one. I appreciate you, brother. Well, Malone is one of my favorite players, but there are a lot of guys who are there are a lot of guys who are great that have won championships that are ahead of him. Because let's be clear about one thing. You can't, as a player, you can't just be kicking ass and never winning and be considered great. No, that doesn't work. At some point, you got to win. That's got to translate into winning. It can't just be, I'm just kicking everybody's ass, but we not winning. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to eventually turn that into. You have to turn that into wins. So, as much as I dig Malone, until he was able to reach that point, he was just a bad you know what. He was a bad mother shut your mouth. He wasn't an all-time great yet. So I can appreciate you doing work. the way we talk about George Gervin, you think that if George Gervin won the NBA championship twice, we'd be talking about him more? Absolutely, we would. Absolutely, we would. Hell yeah, we would. No doubt. I dig Malone as a player. I loved everything about his game. No question about it. Take it light, Clan. Good to see you, brother. Trade John Wall to Houston for trade John Wall to Philly for Ben Simmons. See, the problem with Philly is that Philly ain't serious about trading Ben Simmons. They just not. They want an all-star player and 4 ones. I'm talking to the panel right now. Who is serious when they ask for when they asking for an all-star player and 4 ones for a disgruntled player? Who is serious about trading them? I'm listening to you guys. When you talk about when you talk about trading a player, who is serious about that? I don't think so either. Philadelphia, they have a disgruntled player in Ben Simmons, and they asked for 4 ones and an all-star in exchange for Ben Simmons. Are they really serious about trading him? Hmm. Hmm. Gage, what up? IT. Isaiah Thomas? Isaiah Thomas is third on my point guard list, behind Stockton and Magic. I've said this to you guys numerous times, man. Steph Curry is listed as a point guard. He's something completely different than that, though. He is not that. He's something other than that. I can't get with Steph Curry being labeled as that because he's not that. That is correct, Mr. Rodriguez. Absolutely. I can't put Steph Curry in a box of being a point guard. I can't put him in a box of being a shooting guard neither because he's something different. His movement off the basketball, his ability to get his shot off, his ability to get his shot off the bounce from as far as he does. I can't really equate Steph Curry with John Stockton. I can't equate Steph Curry with Isaiah Thomas or Magic Johnson or Oscar Robertson. I can't equate him with any of those dudes. And that's the other thing too. When we're talking about ranking Steph Curry all time, it's only 8 guys in the history of the NBA that are multiple league MVPs and have multiple championships. James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, and Curry. That's it. And we got to talk about Steph Curry way different than we talk about. We can't talk about Steph Curry like we talk about those other guys. Like I can talk about Magic when I talk about Bird. I could talk about Chamberlain when I talk about Jabbar. I could talk about Jordan when I talk about LeBron. I can't talk about Steph like I talk about any of them dudes. Kobe Bryant is not a multiple champion, multiple league MVP. Kobe got 1 league MVP. Just 1. My 5 favorite players to watch right now. I dig Tatum. I dig Zion. I dig Giannis. I dig James. And I dig KD. Tough game last night. Giants, Mets. It started in Philly. It started in Philly, man. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And it didn't help losing the Grom for as long as we did, too. So I think Aaron Rodgers stays in the NFC. Brooklyn's very own. What's up, brother? If James, all he has to do over the next 2 seasons, and you tell me, Brooklyn, if you think this is realistic, in order for James to pass Malone and Jabbar over the next 2 seasons, all he got to average is 18 and 8. That's it. If he can average 18 and 8 over the next 2 seasons, he'll pass Malone and Jabbar, and he'll pass Magic to go number 5 all time in assists. Do you think that's realistic? Mm-hmm. On that unit, you don't think he can dish out 8 assists on that unit? I mean, he averaged 10 in 1920 when they won the NBA championship with Kuzma and CP3 and KCP. You don't think he can get 8 assists with that group? Now, Isaiah, what are a few of my hot takes? I don't have any hot takes, man. I just give what I know. That's all I really do. I just give what I know. Yeah, he had 8 last season. My favorite baseball player of all time is Darryl Strawberry. The best baseball player that I've ever seen is Derek Jeter. Akshay Vadad. Is that your name? Did I say that right? Akshay Yadav. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it was a fluke. I do think, however, that I think he was a B player. I think Isaiah was a B player who had an 8-year and he overvalued himself. I do think that, but I don't think it was a fluke because I do think that had he not been as beat up as he was, I think he regrets taking. I do think he regrets not taking that money though. I do think that. No question in my mind. I think he regrets not taking that money. If Braun doesn't beat Kareem, then nobody will. And I believe that. I think that he also, I mean, this is the closest that I've seen. Jerry West was a 12-time first team All NBA, if I'm not mistaken. No, I don't think Jerry West was, and he wasn't a 4-time. Jerry West was not a 4-time All League defender. I'm not 100% sure on that because the All League defender, Jerry West retired in what, 73? He retired in 70. He retired after the 73 season. He might be because the 68-69 season was the first time the all defensive team was implemented. So Jerry West he may very well be. He may very well be that. I got to go do some homework on that. Yeah, he may very well be that. I knew it was 70. I thought it was after they lost to the Knicks in 73. So in 74, he retired. All right. Let's see. Yeah. What was Darryl Strawberry like? I mean, he was like no other. 6'5". He was a long ball hitter, but he also could hit for average. He was great at getting on base. He was a great defender in the outfield. Darryl Strawberry was the consummate. He was a clutch hitter too. Darryl Strawberry was the consummate pro. He's the guy that all of my friends were Willie Randolph, Ricky Henderson, and Don Mattingly guys. I fell in love with Darryl Strawberry when I was a kid. That was my guy. You can definitely make the case for Jerry West as a player. You can definitely do that. But again, the issue that we're having, right? The issue that we're having is what's the standard? I don't think that the issue is Jerry West as a player. I mean, I think he was 25-8 for his career. So him as a player, I don't think that that's the question. What is held against him is the fact that he went to the NBA Finals 9 times and he only won once. That's what everybody holds against him. Yes, he was. No question about that. There's a reason. Well, answer this question for me, Michael. What's Jerry West's nickname? I'm not basing it off rings. That's what the masses do. You know, no, he wasn't. Not he ain't the logo. You just know him as the logo. Say it one more time, Mr. Clutch. So he was Dame Time before Dame Time. That's who he was. He was the guy in the meat and potatoes of the game. Give me the ball, I'll do it. That's who he was. But the problem that we having is, what's up, Tristan? How you doing, brother? Who's a better defender, Artest or which O'Neal? Jermaine O'Neal? Which O'Neal you talking about? Jermaine O'Neal? Oh, Meta was a better defender than Jermaine O'Neal. No question. Jermaine O'Neal was a great rim protector, and I think he was a good low post defender too. But I think that Meta was a better overall defender. I do think that. Herkimer College. No, I don't remember playing against them. Herkimer? No, I don't remember playing against them. See what I'm saying? See what my man Great asking the question, do you think that Wilt Chamberlain actually really scored 100? There are people, and I don't mean great, but there are people who don't think Wilt Chamberlain really existed. And to be honest with you, what's up, Nate? What's up, Thunder? Good morning to you. To be honest with you, if I didn't see actual video of him and you just showed me stats and you just told me stories, I wouldn't believe it neither. I'd be like, no way that there's a guy that was this good in any sport. You got to be kidding me. No way. What's up, brother? No, Mike. Bird really existed too. Ask Magic. Ask Jordan. Bird was absolutely running around here. Yeah, Tristan, we talked about it. Yeah, we talked about the Malice in the Palace. It was great. Well, let me ask you this, Michael. In the 60s, we took, well, let's take it a step, because this isn't my fight. When I think about when I think about Jerry West, how are we talking about a guy today? All right, in 2021. So let's go back to the decade of from 2010 to 2020. How are we talking about this guy who got to the NBA Finals 6 times in a decade and lost every time? But he was losing to bomb squads because those Celtics, and he lost to the same team every time, but that same team was stacked. How are we talking about that guy? And the reason why I'm asking this is because this is the standard that is set for players. This is the standard that's set. You can make that argument, Matt. No question about it. No, I don't think Kawhi Leonard is a better defender than Scottie Pippen. I do not. I mean, you look at those Celtics teams, man. We talking about Bill Russell played with 7 Hall of Famers. 7. And he ain't played with 7 Hall of Famers over the course of 13 years. Like he had Havlicek for 7 years. It ain't like he had Havlicek for a year, and then he had Heisman for 2 years, or he had Bob. He had Havlicek for 7 years. So he had these guys on his unit for a long time. I don't know if there's a pure point guard in the league right now, Jake, but the closest thing to that is Trey. They got Bill Russell listed as 6'10". I think he's about 6'9", 6'10". Mm-hmm. No, Dylon, I don't. I got David Robinson right outside my top 10. I got him at 6. I don't think he was better than Jabbar. I don't think he was better than Chamberlain. I don't think he was better than Russell. I don't think he was better than Olajuwon, and I don't think he was better than Diesel. Well, like I've already mentioned that when I can't hold guys to I can't hold their feet to the fire for winning championships or losing championships, because in totality, it ain't just you. There's a reason why Dallas only won 1 championship with that unit. There's a reason why he only did it 1 time. You know, you had a lot of things go their way. They were playing really well during that time. Yeah, Walton was a little bit before my time. I was in diapers when Walton was that dude in '77. I wasn't in diapers. I was right around preschool. You know, that was when my uncle was just introducing me to the game. He had just introduced me to Doc. He had just introduced me at 5 years old to Jabbar. So Walton is a little bit. I caught Walton when I saw Walton with the Celtics. He wasn't nearly what he was, a shell of what he was. So I don't think Dirk is a better scorer than Karl Malone. No, I don't. I mean, they lost in the 65 finals, 65 or 66 finals in game 7 by 1. Or is it 1 or 2 points? No, he didn't, which is interesting that because Malone did finish second in the league in scoring in 90. It was either in 89 or 90. I think he finished second in the league in scoring. Most unguardable shot. Well, that's simple. It's the skyhook. I'm surprised that more guys didn't put that in their game. Jabbar had one move. Stop this and you stop me. Played 20 years. He's the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. That was it. Running good, E. Running good, brother. Gavin, is Klay Thompson a top 3 shooter of all time? Well, I don't have a favorite team because, like I said, these guys, they bounce around so much. So I don't really have a favorite team. So see what I'm talking about, Michael? Great Elon just said it. How is Malone better than KG if he never won a ring? See what I mean? When we just got finished talking about Jerry West and the standard that these guys are held to, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So when you look at Karl Malone as a player and you look at Kevin Garnett as a player and you look at their accomplishments, but because Kevin Garnett won the NBA championship and Karl Malone didn't, that's the standard. This is what guys are talking about. See what I mean? This is exactly what I mean when I hear guys talking about. So this is why they talk about Jerry West the way they talk about him. For that reason right there. That wouldn't surprise me, Mike. Not at all. Darrell Reeves is the second best DB of all time behind Dion. I can get with that logic. MJ absolutely had other plans. Absolutely, he did. I do think Marbury is better than Steve Francis. Yes, I do. I think he was a better point guard than Steve Francis. Steve was a better athlete than Marbury, but I think Marbury was I think he was a better point guard than Steve Francis. Absolutely. What is the most stacked position of all time? Why were people scared of MJ? Have you seen MJ? Mike wasn't nothing to play with, man. Mike was dangerous. No, I don't, buddy. Frank doesn't work on his game, and he's the same player today that he was 4 years ago. He doesn't. I watched him in the summer league last year, and I watched him in the summer league the year before that, and it just became apparent to me that he doesn't work on his game. And when I say he doesn't work on his game, he doesn't work on the things that he's not good at that'll make him a better player. That's why he came back the same player that he was. He was working on the stuff that he was good at. He wasn't working on being a better ball handler. He wasn't working on being a better playmaker. He wasn't working on being a better defender. And I watched this was it last night? Not last night, but I think 2 nights ago I watched the Knicks. And I think the Knicks screwed up with Obi Toppin. I don't think he's going to be in the league in 5 years. He reminds me of Kenny Skywalker, and he's another dude who looked like he don't work on his game. He looked like he works on what he's good at, and that's it. He's just a high flyer. Best NFL defense I've seen. I was around when the 85 Bears were incredible. My Niners in 84 were really good. That Baltimore Ravens defense, I can argue that Tampa defense in 2003 was better than them. I think that they were just as good, if not better, with Lynch and Sapp. I think they were just as good, if not better. I hope I am too, buddy, but Loons, who are the top 10 quarterbacks in the league right now? Pat Mahomes, 1. Brady. Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen. I think Russell Wilson is the top 5 quarterback right now. Why was Bill Walton in the top 50? I mean, he did. I mean, Bill Walton was, to give you an idea, I mean, he only played, I think, 5 full seasons. And in those 5 full seasons he came in the league in 74 and he retired in 90. Yeah, he officially retired in 90. Or was it 88? And in those 13 years, I think Bill Walton's got over, he only played 5 full seasons. He got over 10,000 points, won the league MVP, won the finals MVP, and the 6th man of the year. And he only played 5 full seasons. So, just to give you an idea. I think they will, Mike. Yeah, I do. Retro, Giannis has to continue. He's got to sustain this level in order for him to be considered a top 5 power forward of all time, because he's still got work to do. No, I'm not, Michael. So individual players and stats were determining their rankings off of finals, MVPs, accolades. I definitely got Jerry West as a top 15 player all time. No question about it. I absolutely do. Mm-hmm. Which current players are top 75 all time? Wade, Melo, Leonard, KD. I think KD is higher than 75. Let me take him out. He will be added to the list, though. KD will be added to the top 50 list. Melo, Wade, I think James Harden. I think Anthony Davis, Giannis, Leonard. I don't know if I said Leonard twice. Russ, I think he's going to be on that list. Absolutely, brother. I think I know who you want to replace Jerry West as the logo, but I had a bit of a heated discussion about this when Bryant passed away, because there was the logic that Bryant should be made the logo, and I was visibly upset about that. And the reason why I was visibly upset about that, and it wasn't because Bryant doesn't deserve that, it was because if you felt, number one, Are we having this conversation again when Magic ain't around? Are we having this conversation again when Bird ain't around? Or when Jordan ain't around? That's number one. Number two, if you felt like that about him, why wasn't you talking like that about him when he was around? Because he needed to hear that, man. If you loved him like that, because I was around when this dude was getting the backlash and the slander that he was getting. And for him to not be around anymore and for them to go, yo, we want to make him the logo. Well, if you loved him that much, then why weren't you talking like that about him when he was around, man? He needed to hear that. He absolutely needed to hear that. He needed to hear that when in Philadelphia in 2002, his hometown, he got booed at the All-Star game after he won the All-Star game MVP. He needed to hear how much you guys loved him. He needed to hear that. In 2003, when he was up on a rape charge, when he had to go every arena and hear everybody calling him rapist, when we didn't even know what happened. We didn't even know what was going on. But he had to listen to that. He needed to hear you guys tell him how much you loved him. He needed to hear that, man. But he ain't around no more, and now it's, yo, we love Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant. I'm like, man, where were y'all at when he was around? When everybody hated him. That's why when I hear him being talked about as the logo, I'm thinking to myself, why wasn't you talking like this? Why wasn't you talking about him like this when he was here? Because he needed to hear that. He needed to. I'm not saying that he should have heard that. He needed to hear that. Why does no one talk about Paul Pierce? Because Paul Pierce talked about Paul Pierce. The same reason why people don't talk about Kanye West as much as they should be talking about Kanye West. Kanye West is the chick who's beautiful. Not only does she know she's beautiful, she can't stop telling us how beautiful she is, which makes her ugly now. Well, Paul Pierce, we already know how nice he is, but he can't stop telling us how good he is, which kind of makes his game corny now. That's why people don't talk about him nearly as much as they should. He absolutely did. Yes, he did. Josh, how's the crack? Crack's good? Not only was he on that team that won 33 straight games, they beat the Knicks in 5 games in the NBA Finals that year. Mopped the floor with them. Straight served them. I don't think KD is a top 3 scorer all time. When I think about scorers, Jordan, KD's arsenal. I don't think I'm having a tough time putting him at, because I mean James averaged the same amount of points as he did for his career. For his career, James averages the same amount of points. Melo is up there too. There was a stretch where Carmelo Anthony was considered the best one-on-one player in the game. You talk about strictly buckets. That's all I am is buckets. Kareem, for me, he at the top of that list. Absolutely. He had one move. Stop this and you stop me. Stop this and you can stop me. He retired as the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. So I feel like Giannis has done what most power forwards have done already. So he got to be top 5. Problem child says he still has to do more. Because like I said earlier, you got to the party late, but excuse me, like I said earlier, Giannis has not been nice for that long. Giannis just got nice over the last we going into the 2022 season. Giannis just got nice over like the last 4 years. It's not like Giannis been doing this for 8-9 years. He ain't a part of the 20,000 point 10,000 rebound club. No, he's not. Barkley is, KG is, Malone is, Duncan is. He ain't a part of that group. Well, how much? Let's see. Embiid came in the league in what, 17, 16? Because he missed 2 years too. Embiid came in either 15 or 16, and he missed 2 years. So Embiid is what, 25? Something like that. And how many more years you think Embiid got at this level? I mean, he was 30 and 11 last year before he got hurt. He was on his way to winning the league MVP. C Money, what's up, brother? How many more years you think Embiid? You think that's it? 2 or 3 at that level before he starts to slow down? Wow. Was it what did I say? 2014? Because I know he missed 2 seasons. So he came in 14 or 15? Okay. Yeah, he did average 40 a game. I'm not even on the 40 a game. Mike, again, the dude was finals MVP and they lost. We have never, in my lifetime, I wasn't around when that was going on. I have never seen that. The last time something like that was close was in 15 when they were considering giving LeBron finals MVP when they lost. Well, WZ, he missed the first 2 years of his career because of his foot. So they put him on ice to start. And then last year he missed a month because he hyperextended his knee. The year before that, I thought he would have been better because he came to camp 20 pounds lighter. So I was expecting to see something completely different. But I didn't. I saw something. His body, he ended up breaking down. I was surprised at that. And when Embiid came into the game, I had him in the same category with Olajuwon. That's what I thought I was looking at. The main reason for LeBron losing 6 finals, his teams wasn't good enough. That was the main reason. His teams weren't good enough. In 2007, that team wasn't good enough. In 2012 and 2011, that team wasn't good enough. They had just gotten together, and James was not. He wasn't in line with that unit. In 15, that team wasn't good enough. Are you willing to trade him, though, WZ? I mean, I know he just signed an extension today. Let's go back to yesterday. Let's forget that he just signed an extension. Are you willing to trade him? You want to move off of him? What's your plan with what's your plan with Embiid? Because like you just said, you don't trust his body. So what's your plan with him? What do you plan on doing with him? Because if you don't trust him, that means that you think he's going to break down. So, you want to trade him? You want to move off of him? Because if we're moving off of him, that means we got to start all over. Hmm. Good, Bryant. Running good, man. Running good. Running good. So, yeah. All right, guys. It's about that time. It was good talking to you guys. Today's Tuesday. I'll be back before the week is out. If I'm not back Thursday, I'm definitely back Friday. And we'll chop it up again. And we'll get into some more stuff. So until then, guys, take it light, but take it.